Pixel 4a 5G versus Pixel 5. Same cameras in both phones, but do they produce the same results? I'm going to show you in this video, so stay tuned. How's everyone, Grant here, and welcome to Grant Likes Tech, where I share with you tech that I like. And in this video, I have a camera comparison between the Pixel 4a 5G and the Pixel 5. And both of these phones are the best two phones that Google has out right now. They have the exact same cameras on the front and the rear. So we're going to see if they perform the same and produce the same results. Now, like I always do, I'll show you a bunch of photos and videos in both good and low light conditions so you can see for yourself how these are performing if you're trying to decide between these two phones and camera performance is important to you. Now, because I test a lot between the cameras on these phones, it's going to be a really long video, so I've got timestamps in the description below so you can jump around to the sections that interest you most. So go ahead and take a look at the photos and videos, and I'll come back at the end and let you know what I think about how each of these phones performed. Hey everyone, so here are in the park testing out the rear cameras on the Pixel 4a 5G and the Pixel 5. So we're starting out here with the ultra-wide angle cameras on both phones. And what's nice is that you can actually switch between the cameras while recording here. So I can move into the main lens there on the 4a 5G and the main lens there on the Pixel 5. And so I'll go ahead and actually pan over here to the right and we can test some zoom here. So 2 times there on the 4a 5G, 2 times on the Pixel 5. And we can test into some max 5 times digital zoom there on the Pixel 4a 5G and the same 5 times zoom on the Pixel 5. So we'll go ahead and back out and test some autofocus here first with the 4a 5G on the post. So as expected, really quick focus and refocus away on the 4a 5G, and it should be the same here on the 5 and pretty much is. Really fast autofocus here on the Pixel 5 as well. And so we'll go ahead and test some stabilization here. I'll walk down the stairs. And again, both these should be doing really well with the Pixel stabilization here in 1080p 30 frames per second. And so you can pan around the park here as I stop and check out all the fall colors here of the leaves that are coming in here on the park and how the lenses do as I point back up here into the afternoon sun there. Hey everyone, so here we are, same test, this time at 4K 30 frames per second on each phone. And again, we're starting out with the ultra wide angle lens. So this is what the field of view and the ultra wide angle cameras look like here on each phone. And I'll go ahead and zoom into the main wide angle lens here on both. And check that out. And I'll go ahead and pan over to the right and we'll do our zoom test here in 4K. So 2 times on the 4a 5G and 2 times there on the 5. And we'll go all the way up to 5 times digital there on the 4a 5G and 5 times on the Pixel 5. So both are looking pretty much exactly the same in the viewfinder to me, which you would expect here. And I'll zoom back out and we'll test the autofocus here on both, starting with the 4a 5G. So again, still really fast autofocus here in 4K, as you would expect. And same thing here with the Pixel 5. Yep, nice and speedy autofocus in 4K and refocus away. And here we go, stabilization test on the stairs in 4K. And again, I expect this to be looking pretty stable and pretty good here, even in 4K. So again, we'll pull up, take one more pan around the park here with those fall colors in the trees, and one pan up to the sun to see how it handles that afternoon sunlight there. Everyone, so here's a front-facing camera test between the Pixel 4a 5G and the Pixel 5. I've got these in vertical just so that the cameras line up a little bit better here, but I'll still go ahead and pan around so you can kind of see how it does into the changing lighting conditions with the afternoon sky back there, what that does to the picture quality as well. And I'll go ahead and pan back around this way and see how that adjusts. And we'll start walking to test the stabilization on both of these front-facing cameras here. And you can see some of the different lighting conditions as the afternoon light starts to come in here, so you can see how the video does here on both of these phones, and let me know what you think about the stabilization as well. So here's the front-facing cameras on both the Pixel 4a 5G and the Pixel 5.
That's how I got that heat, let's go.
Everyone, here's a bit of a low light test between the Pixel 4a 5G and the Pixel 5. As you can see, it's just after sunset, so if I actually pan down, it's not quite that dark. You'll see the image adjust there. But this is 1080p, 30 frames per second to get the most light here. I just want to give you a feel for something other than pitch black. How these cameras perform. You can see how it looks this way. More of that bluish sky after sunset. And as you start walking, you can test stabilization. So you can see what it looks like in some of this light here. But again, just want to give a different kind of low light test, something that's not super dark, but getting dark. This is a fairly realistic situation where you might want to shoot some video. So again, here we go. Pixel 4a and Pixel 5, just after sunset here. Hey everyone, so here's another low light test, this time at 4K 30 frames per second on the Pixel 4a 5G and the Pixel 5. We're starting out again in the wide angle lens here, so you can see what the field of view looks like and the picture quality looks like with the ultra wide angle camera here. And I'll go switch over to the main camera. You can see what that looks like. And we'll pan up into that bright light to see how it handles that light there. And not too bad in the viewfinder. A lot of other phones will really flare that light out, so that's not looking all too bad really. And we'll go ahead and test out some zoom. So 2 times on the 4a 5G and 2 times there on the Pixel 5. Pan up a little bit. And we'll go ahead and zoom in up to max 5 times on the 4a 5G and 5 times there on the Pixel 5. See what that looks like. Pan around a little bit here. And we'll back both of these back out here. And we'll pan around this way and we'll start walking so we can test the stabilization, but also to see how these cameras perform into some of the changing light conditions here, because obviously that was a fairly well lit area, and we're going to walk over to a much darker area here. So pay attention to some of the jitter as well. Usually phone cameras will have some jitter in low light. See if that's happening here on either the Pixel phones. And as you can see, we're around the corner and it's much darker in this area here, obviously. But in the viewfinder, both Pixels seem to be doing fairly well at least brightening up the scene. Pan up into the night sky, and it's pretty dark. If I pan over this way, it's a little more light. And both are doing a decent job of illuminating this. It's much darker than what I'm seeing in the viewfinder with my real eyes here. So just want to give you a quick clip here and a feel for 4K 30 frames per second on both the 4a 5G and the Pixel 5 here in 4K 30 frames per second. So let me know what you think. Everyone, so here's a low light test between the Pixel 4a 5G and the Pixel 5, and this is being shot at 1080p 30 frames per second, so we get the most light possible. You can see the sun just went down, so we're just after sunset here, and I can pan around so you can see how the image adjusts to the changing light here. So that's what it looks like back there. A lot more bluish tint, a lot of that blue hue for right after sunset. And we'll pan back around and we'll start walking so you can see what the stabilization looks like here in these lighting conditions. But again, want to give you some variety in low light and not just some really dark conditions, but fairly realistic. You know, right after sunset, sometime you probably want to actually shoot some video in this kind of a light. So hopefully this gives you an idea of the picture quality here between these two phones. But let me know what you think, how each of these phones are performing here. Hey everyone, so here we go with some front-facing video between the Pixel 4a 5G and the Pixel 5 in some low light, but a fairly well-lit area here to start. As you can see, the lights behind me, try to get some of that. See how each of these cameras are performing into some of those really bright lights behind me. And I'll actually start walking So we can test the stabilization here from both of these front-facing cameras. See if you notice any real differences. They should really be performing the same since they are the same cameras here. But I'll be walking here into a little bit darker area so we can test how it does into the changing lighting condition here with the front-facing cameras. I've also got a fountain right next to me so we can see how the audio does and how that cancels out the background noise of the fountain versus the sound of my voice. And we can go ahead and pan around and see how it does into some of the really bright lights behind me here and what that does to the picture quality as well. And we'll pan back around and get into the darker area here to finish off this sample. So let me know what you think of the low light performance here of the front-facing cameras on the Pixel 4a 5G and the Pixel 5. Hey everyone, so if you've seen my camera comparisons before, you know the drill. I show you the photos and videos first so you can formulate your own opinion, and then we can come back at the end and talk about it. So let me know in the comments what you thought about how each of these cameras performed. Did you notice any difference, and did you prefer one over the other? But for me personally, I thought they performed exactly the same as you would expect. Same cameras in both phones, both front and rear, all the same cameras. You would expect them to perform identical. And at least to my eye, both photos and videos in all lighting conditions perform pretty much exactly the same. So no surprise, but it's always good to test because you never know. Pretty much just like the iPhone 12 series where all the main cameras performed pretty much identical as you would expect with the same sensor and same processing. So let me know if there's any other camera comparisons you want to see, or if you saw anything different here. If you saw any differences between the 4a 5G and the Pixel 5, let me know in the comments. Again, let me know if you want to see any other camera comparisons with the Pixel 4a 5G. I've already got a ton of camera comparisons with the Pixel 5 up against a bunch of other phones. So let me know if you have any other questions or comments. And as always, thanks for watching.